Am I the bad guy for leaving the family group chat with a petty message after my dad added the secret brother I just found out about? Let me take you on a journey through my family dynamics, which recently took a wild turn. So picture this. I'm a 32-year-old woman, and my parents have been divorced for as long as I can remember. My relationship with my dad has always been, well, less than stellar. Sure, we exchange pleasantries on birthdays and holidays, but it's not exactly the warm father-daughter bond you see in movies. My dad lives in Kentucky, while my sister and I are down in Texas. About a year ago, I decided to take the initiative and called him up, expressing my desire to be closer. His grand idea? A group chat where we could play daily games like Wordle and share our scores. I thought, okay, this could work. But after a few months, I realized that while the games were fun, they weren't exactly building a relationship. I brought this up to him, but he brushed it off, insisting that the chat was good enough. Fast forward a bit, and just 2 months before my wedding, my dad drops a bombshell on us. He FaceTimes my sister and me to reveal that we have an older brother named Brandon, who he had kept a secret our entire lives. Talk about a plot twist. I tried to process this new information while planning my wedding, and surprisingly, things remained civil. Then, a few months later, without any warning, my dad added Brandon and his wife to our little game group chat. Suddenly, the chat I had created to foster a relationship with my dad morphed into the Dad and Brandon show. They were chatting away like old pals, while my sister and I felt like mere spectators in a conversation that was supposed to include us. Feeling pushed out, I decided to confront my dad. I called him up and expressed how I felt sidelined and that he still wasn't making an effort to connect with me. Instead of understanding, he gave me a guilt trip about how the chat was the brightest part of his day and that he just wanted all his kids to be together. At that moment, I felt defeated. It seemed like my request for a real relationship had been ignored and hijacked, so I decided to take a stand. Leaning into my reputation as the dramatic one in the family, I sent a message to the group chat saying, "I'm bowing out. I realize this has become the Dad and Brandon catch-up hour, and I love that for you guys. But since I'm still waiting on the relationship I actually asked for months ago, watching from the sidelines isn't for me. Brandon, so glad you're here. Dad, I'll leave you to your brightest part of the day. I'm sure you won't even notice I'm gone." And just like that, I left the group. My sister, who I had warned beforehand, thought my exit was iconic. But then came the real test. How would my dad react? I braced myself for the aftermath, and what did I get? Silence. Crickets. Not a peep from my dad. It was almost comical how quickly the chat had gone from lively banter to a ghost town. As the hours turned into a day, I started to wonder if I had gone too far. Was I the bad guy for leaving the chat in such a dramatic fashion? I mean, I just wanted a real relationship, not to be a spectator in my own family. The support I received from others online was overwhelming, and it helped me feel validated in my feelings. It was comforting to know that so many people were in my corner, cheering me on as I navigated this tricky family situation. So, here I am, still waiting to see how my dad will respond. Will he reach out? Will he finally understand my need for a genuine connection? Only time will tell, but I'm ready to face whatever comes next. After all, family dynamics can be messy, but sometimes you have to take a stand to be heard. I recently found myself in a whirlwind of family drama that I never saw coming. It all started when my dad added a new member to our family group chat, someone I had just discovered existed, my secret brother, Brandon. The moment I saw his name pop up, I felt a mix of confusion and frustration. After all, I had never even heard of him before this revelation, and now he was suddenly part of my family circle. Feeling overwhelmed, I decided to leave the group chat with a rather pointed message. I called it petty, but honestly, it was my way of expressing how I felt about my dad's sudden attempt to integrate this new sibling into our lives without any prior conversation. It felt like a slap in the face, and I wanted my feelings to be known. After I exited the chat, I received a message from Brandon and his wife. They reached out to apologize for what they called intruding on our group chat. I quickly reassured them that it was entirely my dad's doing and not their fault. I also admitted to them that I had a reputation for being the dramatic one in the family. Sometimes, I explained, the only way my dad hears me is through these dramatic gestures. Despite the awkward circumstances, I genuinely wanted to connect with Brandon. We ended up having a heartfelt 45-minute FaceTime call, just the two of us. It was eye-opening to learn that my dad had been manipulating the narrative on both sides. To me, he painted a picture of being close with Brandon, while to Brandon, he made it seem like my sister and I had this wonderful relationship with him. The truth was far from that. Brandon shared that he only found out about his existence when he turned 18 and felt a sense of obligation to build a relationship for the sake of his own children. We both felt a wave of emotion as we realized we were both hurt by our father's actions, and we agreed that we were tired of his nonsense. As I waited for my dad to respond to my departure from the group chat, I was surprised when he reached out the next day. He sent me a simple text saying, "Let me know when you're up." I replied, letting him know I was available, but that I didn't want to discuss the group chat. I expressed my desire for a genuine relationship, one that didn't revolve around a digital space filled with unfamiliar faces. I reminded him that I had asked for a real connection repeatedly, and I was done feeling hurt by his lack of effort. Unfortunately, the conversation didn't go as I had hoped. My dad seemed to double down on his belief that the group chat was the highlight of his day, a convenient way to check in on everyone. He didn't acknowledge my feelings at all. Instead, he suggested that we all meet in the city where I live, as if it were that easy for Brandon and his family to travel with small children. I politely declined. Later that day, he tried to call, but I didn't answer. The following day, while we were snowed in here in Texas, he sent me a photo of his hot chocolate, saying he was thinking of me. I appreciated the gesture, especially since I had loved hot chocolate as a child, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was just trying to save face. I decided to keep my expectations low moving forward. Reflecting on this entire experience, I realized that while I may not have gotten the apology or the change I was hoping for, I did gain a new brother and a fresh perspective on my family dynamics. I'm grateful for the support I received from everyone who offered their advice and encouragement throughout this journey. It's been a lot to process, but I'm learning to navigate these complex relationships, one step at a time.
Am I the bad guy for breaking up my dad's relationship? I never imagined I would find myself in a situation where I felt the need to break up my dad's relationship, but here we are. My dad, who is 47, started dating a woman named Ashley, who is 28, about 6 months ago. Initially, things seemed to go well. He wanted my sister, who is 16, and me, a 23-year-old woman, to bond with her, so we all went to an escape room together. It was fun, and I thought maybe this could work. However, things took a turn once Ashley started spending more time at our house. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then she made a comment that struck me as odd. She suggested that I should serve my dad because he had a long day, and it was the polite thing to do. I was raised to be considerate, especially since my mother was very traditional and instilled those values in us. But I quickly realized that it wasn't my job to serve him whenever he was busy. I brushed off her comment, thinking it was just a one-off thing. Then came the first time Ashley stayed over. She got too drunk to drive home, so my dad let her crash at our place. The next morning, while I was doing my laundry, she casually remarked that I should be doing everyone's laundry, not just my own. I explained that my sister and dad do their laundry together, and she responded by saying my sister should take more responsibility. I felt like I was in a competition with her, and it was exhausting. My sister tried to explain that it was a cultural thing, but Ashley didn't seem to care. That was the last straw for me. I ended up losing my temper and cursing her out. She accused my sister and me of dressing inappropriately and being attention-seeking, which only fueled the fire. In the heat of the moment, I gave my dad an ultimatum. It was either her or me, and I threatened to remind him of our late mother for the rest of his life if he chose her. After that, my dad dropped Ashley off at her place, and things have been awkward ever since. My sister told me I shouldn't have brought up our mom, who passed away 4 years ago, and I did apologize for that. But my dad has been giving me one-word answers and acting like nothing is wrong, which makes me feel even worse. Now, I'm left wondering if I overstepped. I never wanted to create a rift between my dad and me, but I felt like I had to stand up for myself and my sister. I'm just hoping that with time things will settle down, but I can't shake the feeling that I might have crossed a line.
Giving a small gift for a guy's dog on the second date? I recently went on my second date with a guy named Jake, and I was feeling pretty excited about it. Our first date had gone really well, and we had immediately made plans to meet up again. During our first outing, Jake had shared how he had just gotten a German Shepherd puppy, and I could tell he was absolutely smitten. His enthusiasm was contagious, and it got me thinking. While I was out shopping a few days before our date, I stumbled upon some adorable chew toys. I thought it would be a sweet gesture to bring one for his puppy, but then I started second-guessing myself. Was it too weird to bring a dog toy on a second date? I decided to put it in a cute little gift bag so he wouldn't have to carry a rubber bone around. I shared my idea with some friends, and they mostly thought it was a nice gesture. One even suggested I might want to wait until I met the puppy, but I figured, who doesn't love a puppy? I went ahead and bought the toy, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. When the day of the date arrived, I brought the gift along. To my delight, Jake was genuinely touched by the gesture. He kept expressing how thoughtful it was throughout dinner. We had a great time, and after our meal, we decided to try something adventurous: axe throwing. It was a blast. As the evening progressed, Jake asked if I wanted to meet his puppy that night. I couldn't resist, so we headed to his place. When I finally met his adorable German Shepherd, I was smitten. He was the cutest little fluffball, with giant floppy ears and big paws. After some puppy cuddles, we ended up in his backyard by a cozy fire, just enjoying each other's company. I ended up staying much longer than we had originally planned, and I couldn't have been happier. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm thrilled to say that not only did my thoughtful gift score me major points with Jake, but I also found myself growing quite attached to his puppy. It's safe to say that this little gesture turned out to be a great move in my dating journey.